So I currently study at college, and as an elective course I'm taking something called personal wellness, where we study how to be healthier, happier, and how to make some positive changes in our lives. And today we were talking about the relationships and what kind of relationships we have. Right now I'm giving you some context. Before going to college in Canada, I lived in Serbia for about a year. And there I didn't have any friends, barely had anyone to talk to, and no one to support me. So during that year I was like completely isolated from the society. But closer to the time of coming to Canada, I realized that I had an opportunity to make some changes in my life, and once I arrived here, I just went crazy. I became incredibly social. I was meeting people here and there, and at first it was a lot of fun. However, 2-3 months ago, my social life started falling apart. I started being very disappointed at this idea of being social, and because I didn't want to be hurt anymore, I started coming to this very nihilistic ideas like nothing matters and everything is meaningless. So during the class, the teacher asked us to choose the reason why it's hard for us to build strong relationships with others. And there were the answers like social anxiety or fear of rejection, and even I sometimes have these problems. But I started wondering, like, why is there nothing deeper that actually stops us from being with other people? And I decided to ask a question. My question was something like, what if the thing that actually stops us from having strong relationships with others is the understanding of the overall meaningless of them? The weirdest part for me is that I don't really think that everything is meaningless. And the funniest thing for me is that right now I have the people in my life who I call friends. And I actually believe that there was a reason why we met, and I think that the connection that me and the guys have is actually very meaningful and special. So basically I was contradicting my own question, but I thought that it was a very interesting question to debate, so I asked it anyway. And while people don't really like this kind of questions, we just don't really like facing this idea that sometimes things might be meaningless. And it's also very uncomfortable because if everything is meaningless, so why bother doing anything, right? And well, the teacher just answered my question, not as deep as I expected, but we just moved on. And the funniest part, that after the class, a guy who was also asking a lot of questions came to me and said something like, you know, the question that you ask is actually very important. And after that we started talking, and I was like, you wanna go and get some coffee? And not going to lie, perhaps it was like the coolest conversation that I had with the person who I just met like in months. So it's funny how my question about the relationships being meaningless kind of like connected me with some other people. And perhaps maybe eventually nothing matters, but the present that we share with other people absolutely does.